A black-maned lion stands alone over his prize, an African buffalo weighing nearly 1,540 pounds. He lets out a prideful roar, a declaration of absolute power on this savanna. But that sound is more than an assertion of dominance. It is a signal, a challenge that echoes down to the murky water. Beneath the calm surface, another power has been listening. An ancient form emerges from the turbid depths, its vacant eyes holding the memory of millions of years of evolution. The Nile crocodile, silent ruler of the swamp, draws near. Its jaws agape, not as a threat, but as a statement of fact, of bone-crushing power. This battle is not merely a contest for food. This is a historic moment where two empires collide. Two philosophies of survival confront one another. The collective strength of the savanna faces the solitary killer instinct of the river. Who will fall, and who will stand atop the food chain? The answer lies on the fragile border between life and death. The lion, an emblem of supreme power on the plains, carries a history of millennia of evolution. The lionesses, queens of the pride, are the primary hunters, with near-perfect speed and coordination. The male's role, meanwhile, is not to hunt, but to protect the territory and the genetic stability of the dynasty. Despite their majestic appearance, lions spend up to 20 hours a day at rest, a crucial strategy for conserving energy. Their existence is a complex symphony of power, strategy, and social cohesion. But if the lion is king of the land, the river belongs to another tyrant. The crocodile, a creature almost unchanged since the age of the dinosaurs. They are living relics, a reminder of a world long vanished. Of the world's 24 crocodile species, the Nile crocodile is Africa's largest and most formidable predator. A mature male can exceed 20 feet in length and weigh over 2,200 pounds. They are cold-blooded rulers, dependent on the sun to regulate their body temperature. Their gaping mouths, while basking, are not aggression, but a sophisticated cooling mechanism, similar to panting. But do not be deceived by that stillness. Even when motionless, every one of its senses is on high alert. Highly sensitive receptors on its jaw allow it to detect the slightest vibrations on the water's surface, turning the river into a deadly web. Its back is not just skin, but a biological suit of armor known as osteoderms. These small bony plates, rich in calcium and micro blood vessels, form a nearly impenetrable defense system. This armor not only protects it from the bites of enemies, but also acts as a solar panel, absorbing and storing heat. It is also a mineral reserve, enabling the crocodile to survive through harsh times. This is a masterpiece of evolution, a design perfected over tens of millions of years. Material scientists today are still studying this structure to create advanced protective gear for humans. Every ridge on its back is a chapter in the chronicle of survival. On the vast savanna, the hunt begins in silence. Unlike solitary big cats, the lion's strength lies in unity. The pride's hunt is a ballet of tactics and coordination. The lionesses naturally split into two groups. One group approaches the prey from downwind, moving softly through the tall grass. The other group establishes a cordon, cutting off all escape routes. Communication between them is nearly invisible at a glance, a gentle flick of the tail. All await a single signal. And then the charge erupts. A terrifying sprint, but one that can only be sustained for a few seconds. The lion's heart is relatively small for its body size, limiting its stamina. That is why ambush tactics and precision are paramount. Claws up to 1.5 inches long dig deep into the prey's flesh. Their success rate, around 30%, is not high, but a successful hunt ensures the survival of the entire dynasty. The crocodile's strategy, meanwhile, is one of absolute patience. It can hold its breath underwater for up to 30 minutes, its body sinking into silence. Only its eyes and nostrils break the surface, like inanimate logs. It watches, waiting for the moment its prey is most vulnerable. When the moment comes, it explodes from the water. A launch from the surface at incredible speed, propelled by its enormous muscular tail. And then, the bite. With a bite force of up to 22,000 newtons, one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, it leaves its prey almost no chance. Its conical teeth are not for chewing, but for pinning and tearing. But its ultimate weapon has yet to be unleashed. When the prey is too large to subdue, the crocodile performs the death roll. This is not a frenzied act, but a technique programmed into its genes. It spins its entire body around its spinal axis at up to 300 degrees per second. The immense torsional force generated tears the prey apart. A flexible spine and powerful musculature allow it to execute this lethal maneuver without harming itself. It is an innate instinct, a terrifying display of evolutionary efficiency. But behind these brutal predators is another story, a story of fragility. When it is time to give birth, a lioness will quietly leave the pride, seeking a secluded den. The newborn cubs weigh only a few pounds, their eyes sealed shut, completely helpless. For the first few weeks, their mother barely leaves them, constantly moving the den to avoid predators. She moves each cub by gently gripping the scruff of its neck, a tender act from a killer. Later, upon rejoining the pride, raising the young becomes a shared responsibility. Other lionesses will help care for and protect the next generation, forming a communal creche. Beneath the warm sandbanks, another cycle of survival is unfolding. The mother crocodile lays her eggs in a carefully excavated nest. But the fate of the hatchlings is determined not by genes, but by temperature. If the temperature is too hot or too cold, all will hatch as females. Only a narrow, perfect temperature range will produce males. When she hears the faint calls from within the eggs, the mother crocodile returns. With surprising gentleness, she uses her deadly jaws to break open the shells and release her young. She even carries the tiny hatchlings in her mouth, transporting them to the safety of the river. But the river is no paradise. Fewer than 1% of crocodile hatchlings survive to adulthood. Nile monitors will raid the nests, while birds of prey and large fish will hunt the young. But their most fearsome enemy is often their own kind. Larger crocodiles will not hesitate to cannibalize smaller ones, a brutal but necessary act of population control. For both dynasties, the future is built upon a foundation of risk. And now, the two rulers finally face each other. In the wetlands of the Okavango Delta, a fierce confrontation was recorded. A lioness, raising 5 young cubs, desperately fights to claim a piece of carrion from a huge crocodile. Hunger and a mother's instinct give her extraordinary strength. It is a tug of war between life and death. The crocodile, with its superior strength, tries to drag the meat into the water. But the lioness, with a mother's desperation, holds on. Finally, with a powerful wrench, she secures a partial victory, enough to feed her cubs for another day. Sometimes, it is not the strongest who wins, but the one with more to lose. But in the crocodile's domain, the rules change. A male lion, however powerful on land, is vulnerable in the water. A sudden strike from below, tens of thousands of newtons of force clamping down, and the king of the savanna is dragged into the murky depths. The fight is over quickly, a brutal reminder that every empire has its borders. The competition between them is not limited to direct confrontations. It is also a constant battle for resources, especially during the dry season. When water sources dwindle and prey becomes scarce, both lions and crocodiles become opportunistic scavengers. A hippo carcass can attract an entire pride of lions and the largest of crocodiles. In such cases, an unspoken truce seems to be established. A warning roar from the lead lion, a guttural response from the crocodile. A war of nerves, where both sides measure the risk before deciding whether to shed blood. They are mortal enemies, but also rivals who respect each other's power. But while these two dynasties are engrossed in their struggle for survival, a common, more insidious enemy has appeared. That enemy is us. In the past, lions roamed across Africa, but today they occupy only about 7% of their original territory. Their population has declined by 43% in the last 2 decades, leaving only about 20,000 individuals in the wild. They are being pushed to the brink of extinction by habitat loss, human-wildlife conflict, and relentless poaching. Their bones, teeth, and claws are traded as talismans, a devastating price for superstition. The trophy hunting industry and the practice of farming lions for slaughter remain an insidious threat. The situation for the Nile crocodile seems better, but it is also precarious. Their populations are fragmented, and poaching for their skin for the high fashion industry continues. It is estimated that millions have been killed simply to serve human luxury. Direct conflict, as humans and crocodiles compete for water, often ends in the death of these animals. Both the king of the savanna and the lord of the swamp are losing a war they are not even aware of. But this story is not only one of loss. Amid the threats, hope is emerging. We are beginning to realize that lions and crocodiles are more than just predators. They are ecosystem engineers, the silent guardians of the balance of an entire ecosystem. Lions control herbivore populations, preventing overgrazing and protecting the land from erosion. Their presence helps to maintain the health of the entire savanna. Crocodiles, meanwhile, are the custodians of the river. They consume carcasses, preventing the spread of disease and keeping the water quality stable. Their waste also provides essential nutrients for the aquatic food chain. With this understanding, conservation efforts are being deployed across Africa. Organizations like Panthera are working with governments to strengthen anti-poaching measures. In Kenya, the Samburu people, once adversaries of lions, have now become their guardians, using GPS technology for tracking and alerts. The Lion Boma initiative in Zimbabwe helps protect livestock at night, mitigating conflict between people and lions. South Africa has made a landmark decision, banning the captive lion breeding industry for hunting. Crocodile breeding programs in controlled environments help reduce pressure on wild populations. This is not just a story about two species. This is a story about the fragile balance of our planet. The dynasty of the lion and the empire of the crocodile have endured for millions of years. They have survived ice ages, mass extinctions, and countless natural challenges. But on the African savanna, another story is unfolding. In the crucible of survival, every step can be the line between life and death. Here, between shadow and light, a relentless contest of wits begins. A ruthless struggle for existence, where the victor claims the ultimate prize, the right to live. The leopard, one of the most celebrated great cats of the African savanna. It exists in a vast world where the sun scorches the arid earth. This is no tranquil landscape. It is a harsh arena, where life and death are decided in the blink of an eye. The Masai Mara is where prides of lions lie in patient wait. The Okavango Delta is a miraculous oasis, bringing life to a parched land. In this world, every creature has its role. Giraffes reach for the highest leaves. Buffalo defend their herds with formidable horns. And the leopard, a solitary hunter, a master of camouflage. Its hunt may be lonely, but it is never dull. That journey is written by the fierce survival instincts of its prey, and the leopard's own extraordinary hunting skills, honed through every stage of its life. Millions of years ago, the leopard's ancestors crossed from the dense forests of Asia, traversing deserts to conquer this land. They have evolved to withstand the most extreme conditions. The leopard's body is a natural masterpiece. Supple muscles ripple beneath a coat of gold and black, like sunlight filtering through leaves. The spots on a leopard's coat are not random patterns. They are known as rosettes. This coat is its identity. But here, there is no pride to rely on. Only instinct and skill. A leopard spends its life defending its territory, an area of 7 to 50 square miles. As night falls, the savanna grows quiet. The leopard glides through the tall grass, silent as a ghost. Every footstep is a careful calculation. During the dry season, the African savanna stretches out under a harsh sun. The ground is cracked, and temperatures can soar to over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The waterholes that once sustained life have now shrunk to shallow pools of mud. The rivers have run dry. Elephants, zebras, and wildebeest gather in migratory herds, traveling dozens of miles in search of green grass and water. But not every creature can leave. For the leopard, a solitary predator, the dry season brings immense challenges. When water becomes more precious than gold, tensions in the animal world escalate. Large clans of hyenas dominate the remaining waterholes. With a bite force of 1,100 pounds per square inch, they are a formidable threat from which the leopard must keep its distance. But the leopard has been taught the art of survival by nature itself. It relies on silence and camouflage. Its spotted, tawny coat is the perfect cloak of invisibility amidst the dry grass. The leopard knows that confrontation is not always necessary. It travels further, seeking less guarded waterholes. Sometimes this means enduring thirst, but it is a price it is willing to pay. To survive, the leopard must hunt to fill its empty stomach. A new challenge awaits: the impala. The impala is no easy target. Weighing 100 to 160 pounds, they can leap up to 10 feet high and run at great speed. When moving as a herd, they form a mobile wall of defense. The leopard knows that noise is its enemy. It moves slowly through the tall grass, each step placed with delicacy. This is the art of the ambush, a game of time and patience. For the solitary hunter, success is a narrow ledge on a cliff of failure. For every moment of victory, there are countless heartbeats of disappointment. Each failed attempt is not just a missed meal. It is a devastating expenditure of energy that cannot be easily replaced. The leopard waits, almost motionless, until the perfect moment arrives. The moment the wind drops, and the impala herd lets down its guard, if only for a second. Then it strikes. A perfect pounce, astonishingly powerful and precise. The impala has only a split second to react, but its fate is already sealed. After a long and arduous dry season, the first rains fall. The parched, cracked earth is reborn, transformed into a vibrant landscape. In just a few days, new shoots of grass spring up, blanketing a vast area in lush green, growing up to 6 feet high. As the first rains awaken the savanna, one of nature's greatest spectacles begins, the Great Migration. Over 1.5 million wildebeest, 200,000 zebra, and 400,000 gazelle move forward as one. They leave the Serengeti, heading for the plains of the Masai Mara. The rainy season also brings changes for the leopard. The cooler air allows it to move more comfortably during the day. It takes advantage of the night, using the sound of the rain to mask its footsteps and its breathing. Nearby, a leopard, master of the ambush, lies pressed to the ground, its body tensed like a bow. A leopard's success rate when ambushing a herd of zebra rarely exceeds 10%, but the great reward means it never passes up the chance. It inches forward, using the tall grass and low terrain for concealment. Then the decisive moment comes. The leopard bursts out like a phantom, targeting a young, vulnerable foe. A spectacular chase begins. But the most unpredictable element is the fierce love of a mother. The zebra mare immediately gives chase. But the brave mother's efforts are in vain. The leopard has its prize firmly in its jaws and escapes. Ultimately, the mare is forced to abandon her foal. But now, the challenge comes not from other predators, but from the invisible forces that are changing the world. Climate change arrives like an unseen adversary. It leaves no footprints, but its mark is in every blade of grass, every dry riverbed. Studies show the savanna's average temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit over the past 3 decades. The dry seasons are becoming longer, scorching the vegetation. Fortunately, many urgent and effective solutions are being implemented. A key initiative is the creation of safe wildlife corridors, which help to reduce conflict between wild animals and people. Organizations like Panthera have used GPS systems and tracking collars to monitor the movements of leopards in real time. Ecotourism is also a sustainable solution, providing income for local communities and encouraging the protection of leopards. The leopard has survived for millions of years by being a master of invisibility, a ghost in the landscape. But now, it faces a world where there are no shadows left to hide in. Its future, its very existence, no longer depends on its own cunning, but on ours. The final test is whether this master of solitude will be left utterly alone. Only through cooperation between humanity and nature can we protect these magnificent creatures. Otherwise, the silence of the savanna may forever lose the soft footfalls of its hidden predator. When the name Africa is mentioned, our minds often conjure images of golden savannas stretching to the horizon, of scorching deserts shimmering under a harsh sun. But behind that magnificent beauty lies a deadly arena, where every law of survival is dictated by heat and instinct. Under the scorching heat of the equatorial sun, the African savanna appears like a colossal, golden-hued furnace. Heat waves rise from the arid ground, creating shimmering mirages that bend the distant horizon into strange shapes. Amidst the sea of crisp, dry grass, a majestic figure emerges, silent yet heavy with absolute authority. This is the kingdom of the lion at midday, where every breath is a battle against the harshness of the weather. A male lion rests in the sparse shade of an ancient acacia tree, his eyes narrowed to block out the invasive glare. His thick, dark mane is not only a symbol of status, but now a thermal burden in the 95-degree Fahrenheit air. Around him, the lionesses lie intertwined, a unified mass, taking advantage of every bit of rare shade from their companions. One female gently licks the fur of her sister, a ritual that reinforces the clan's bond and absolute trust within the pride. The lion cubs, not yet understanding the harshness of the kingdom, playfully chase their mother's swaying tail. For this great cat, daytime is not for displaying power, but for conserving every precious bit of biological energy. On the open plains in the distance, herds of zebra and antelope watch the predator warily through a hazy curtain of dust. A fragile truce is established by the heat, as both hunter and prey endure the thick, heavy air. Even the wind seems to have stopped blowing, leaving a suffocating silence to envelop the entire savanna ecosystem. Thirst is the most silent enemy, forcing the pride to carefully calculate their journey to the waterhole as dusk approaches. High above, vultures patiently circle on the hot air currents, waiting for a creature to succumb to the harshness. The pride leader lifts his head slightly, his keen sense of smell catching the scent of a hyena pack lurking on the edge of the territory. His amber eyes reflect the resilience of a species that has dominated this land for millions of years of evolution. The lion does not just survive. It is the embodiment of the perfect balance between explosive power and silent patience. Under the vast blue sky of Africa, the lion's empire stands firm as an eternal symbol of the wild. However, deep in the heart of this ancient continent, hidden beneath a lush green canopy where the mist perpetually dances and silence reigns supreme, lies a deeper, more ancient secret. Here, amidst some of the oldest and most biodiverse rainforests on the planet, time itself seems to stand still. They are cathedrals of life, untouched by the noise of the modern world, where the primal symphony of nature continues uninterrupted. A kingdom where giant trees whisper forgotten stories into the mist, and rare elusive creatures walk paths created 1,000 years ago. Join us as we venture deep into these ancient, majestic forests to immerse ourselves in their unique ecosystems and meet the most extraordinary inhabitants of Africa's deep green heart. The Congo rainforest. It is the second largest tropical forest in the world, second only to the Amazon. This vast sea of green stretches over 1.4 million square miles, covering 6 African nations. More than a forest, the Congo is a living universe, a cradle of biodiversity in constant motion. Beneath a canopy hundreds of feet high, thousands of species of plants, insects, birds, reptiles, and mammals coexist, many of them found nowhere else on Earth. And winding through the Congo forest, like a great artery nourishing the heart of Africa, is an ancient power. The mighty Congo River, a 2,900-mile-long lifeline that flows through the heart of the continent, is the second longest river in Africa, after the Nile, and has the second largest discharge on the planet, after the Amazon. Its dark, deep waters meander through dense forests, across valleys, plains, and gorges, before emptying into the Atlantic Ocean. But it impresses not just with its scale. The Congo River carries an average of 1.4 million cubic feet of water per second, sustaining countless life forms and providing water for millions of people. It is not just a source of water, it is a great natural divide. Its powerful current has bisected the forests for millions of years, creating separate worlds on either side. It is this separation that has allowed species to evolve along different paths. The most classic example is the divergence between the chimpanzee on the north bank and the bonobo on the south. The river does not just nourish, It is the author of unique evolutionary stories. Along its course, the river shapes civilizations. On its banks, vibrant villages and cities like Kisangani, Mbandaka, and Kinshasa have sprung up, dependent on its waters for transport, fishing, and survival. In some sections, its waters become wild. The Inga Falls, for example, represent one of the world's greatest hydroelectric potentials. The Congo River is more than a body of water. It is a spiritual entity for many local peoples, its mysteries still unexplored in its deepest reaches. In its ceaseless flow, it sustains the forest and the creatures within, leading us into the wild heart of Africa. Deep in the forest, amidst the light filtering through the great canopy, a delicate presence is revealed. They are familiar faces, curious eyes. The bonobo, one of our closest living relatives. With about 98.7% of our DNA in common, they bear a striking resemblance to us. Often mistaken for chimpanzees, their more famous cousins, bonobos, are profoundly different in their behavior and social structure. While chimpanzees often live in hierarchical groups dominated by males and marked by violent disputes, bonobos have followed a different path. They have created a peaceful, matriarchal, and highly cooperative society. Bonobo groups are led by experienced females, and conflicts rarely escalate to violence. Instead, they resolve tension with affectionate gestures, embraces, and gentle calls. Standing between 30 and 36 inches tall and weighing up to 88 pounds, bonobos are agile, graceful, and incredibly intelligent. They live in social groups and feed primarily on fruit, leaves, seeds, and occasionally small invertebrates. A fascinating and rare behavior among mammals, bonobos voluntarily share food, even with unrelated individuals. This generous gesture has captured the attention of scientists, and it makes us reflect on the origins of empathy in our own species. The The bonobo is one of the most endangered primates on the planet, classified as endangered since 1996. Found only in the Congo rainforest, deforestation is encroaching on their habitat, while armed conflicts make conservation efforts difficult. Furthermore, illegal hunting remains one of the greatest threats. That is why sanctuaries and conservation centers have become true havens of hope. Lola ya bonobo. Further north, in Odzala-Kokua National Park, one of Central Africa's oldest and most important protected areas, a predator moves with poise and caution, the leopard. Even in broad daylight, this great cat maintains its discretion. It knows where to go, when to stop, and how to disappear. With its golden coat dotted with black rosettes, it camouflages itself among the sun-dappled tree trunks and the deep shadows of the forest. Up to 6 feet long, not including its tail, which can be nearly 3 feet, the leopard impresses with its combination of power and agility. Weighing from 66 to 143 pounds, with a muscular body and broad paws, it is perfectly built for climbing trees with skill. Its long tail acts as a natural counterbalance, providing stability as it moves through the high branches. Odzala is the perfect territory for a leopard. The dense forest envelops it like a cloak, offering shade, silence, and camouflage. As an ambush predator, the leopard rarely relies on speed. It prefers to wait, calculate, and strike at the precise moment. Besides being a hunting ground, Odzala-Kokua National Park is also a crucial refuge for leopard reproduction. The dense forest, the winding rivers, and the limited human presence provide ideal conditions for females to give birth and raise their young in safety. The gestation period lasts from 90 to 105 days, and birth usually takes place in well-hidden areas of the forest. For the first few weeks, the mother keeps her cubs completely isolated, away from all threats. As they grow, she will teach them their first hunting skills. This adaptability is one of the leopard's greatest virtues, and it all begins with a mother's guidance. In Odzala, the sighting of females with their cubs is a promising sign. It means that, despite the external challenges, life endures within the sanctuary. Every year, in November, as the sun sets over the Congo River, an extraordinary phenomenon begins to take shape. Millions of fruit bats gather on the riverbanks, preparing for one of the most spectacular and little-known migrations in the world. Guided by an ancient instinct, these bats leave the depths of the Congo rainforest and fly towards Kasanka National Park in Zambia. This epic journey, spanning over 600 miles, is not just a search for food, but a vital part of the ecosystem. During their migration, the bats feed on wild fruits, dispersing seeds far and wide, helping to regenerate the forest and maintain ecological balance. Their role as seed dispersers is crucial for the health of the Congo rainforest, ensuring that new trees can grow and maintain local biodiversity. When they finally arrive at Kasanka National Park, the bats transform the night sky into a spectacle of wildlife. Zambia's park becomes the stage for one of the largest mammal congregations in the world. From October to December, the park witnesses the presence of up to 10 million fruit bats, a natural event that attracts both researchers and nature lovers. In the southwestern corner of Uganda, near the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, lies the legendary Bwindi impenetrable forest. This dense primary forest, of about 128 square miles, is home to an impressive biodiversity, almost untouched by time and human impact. Deep in the heart of the impenetrable Bwindi forest, rare sunbeams struggle to pierce the dense canopy. This is a kingdom of dappled light and perpetual shadows. Amidst the verdant, mossy labyrinth, a master of the art of concealment is at work in broad daylight. Look closely. It is the African green broadbill. It does not hide in darkness. It conceals itself in plain sight, cloaked in an emerald plumage that blends perfectly with the surrounding foliage. Its large, round eyes watch warily, scanning every crevice of the leaves in the bright morning sun. With its characteristically wide beak, it glides in silence, a tiny phantom among the ancient tree trunks. Its mission now is relentless, to find insects and fruits to fuel a long, active day. Suspended from a slender branch is its architectural masterpiece, a nest that looks exactly like a harmless clump of dry moss. In the daylight, this ingenious camouflage is the only shield for the next generation growing within. The father and mother bird take turns, appearing and disappearing like green flashes. They move with absolute precision, taking advantage of the interplay of light and shadow to deceive any curious gaze. This bird is extremely rare, a living treasure that exists only at these harsh altitudes. Their existence depends on the integrity of the old-growth forests, where sun and shadow dance together. A brilliant testament that, even under the brightest sun, nature still keeps its most beautiful secrets hidden. Still in Uganda, we continue to explore the wonders of African wildlife. Our next destination is one of the continent's most impressive parks, where the Nile River carves its way through the land, nourishing forests and meeting an explosion of life. This is Murchison Falls National Park. Here, the waterfalls and rapids create riverine forests. They are dense corridors of trees and vines, with shade, humidity, and paths covered in roots and wet leaves, an ideal habitat for many species. Here, forest elephants move between the forests and the banks of the Victoria Nile, also known as the White Nile. Although large, they are different from their savanna cousins. Shorter, more compact, with rounder ears and tusks that curve gently downwards. These elephants consume up to 330 pounds of vegetation a day. They do not just eat, they transform the landscape they pass through. They are ecosystem engineers, the great gardeners of the jungle. As they move, they create trails through the dense vegetation, paths that are then used by countless other animals, from small antelopes to even predators. By felling small trees and eating leaves, they create sun-drenched clearings on the forest floor, allowing light-loving plants to grow. This increases the diversity of the flora, providing more food and shelter for other species. Even their dung is a gift to the forest. Each pile is a mobile nursery, full of undigested seeds, helping to disperse and regenerate trees over a wide area. They fell trees and sow seeds on the moist ground. This behavior alters the environment, allowing new plant species to grow, contributing directly to the forest's regeneration. Forest elephants live in family groups led by an experienced matriarch. Their gestation period is one of the longest in the animal kingdom, around 22 months. At the end of this period, a single calf is born, usually weighing around 220 pounds. Caring for the young is not just the mother's task. In a true support network, aunts, sisters, and other females in the group all participate in the upbringing. It is a natural school, where each generation passes on to the next everything they have learned about survival. These elephants live for up to 70 years and shape the forests they inhabit. They are unaware of the danger concealed in the shadows. The long dry season turns waterholes into strategic hunting grounds. In the deadly silence, the lionesses creep low, their sharp eyes locked on their prey. Hunting in these conditions is a game of patience and precision. On average, only 20 to 30% of their hunts are successful. Lions are not built for long-distance chases. Their explosive burst of speed lasts only a few seconds, making strategy their greatest weapon. They carefully select the most vulnerable target. The savanna remains silent until the very moment the lions attack. But their prey never surrenders easily. The fight for survival is an intricate dance of speed, stamina, and strength. The cheetah is the savanna's ultimate sprinter. In just a few seconds, it can accelerate from 0 to 70 miles per hour. But that speed comes at a great cost. Its endurance is extremely limited. Its opponent, the gazelle, is a master of evasion. It executes sudden zigzags, twisting and leaping in unpredictable patterns. If the gazelle can outlast the cheetah's short burst, it has a chance to escape. The zebra, meanwhile, relies on a different strategy. Their striking black and white stripes are not for camouflage, but for confusion. Under the glaring sun, they create an optical effect that dazzles a predator. A study in 2023 confirmed this effect disrupts a hunter's focus. Furthermore, a zebra's powerful legs can deliver a fatal back kick. A single blow has enough force to shatter a jaw or even kill a lion. But perhaps the most magnificent spectacle belongs to the Great Migration. Over 1 million wildebeest begin a journey of nearly 1,900 miles. They rely not on explosive speed, but on legendary stamina. They can maintain a steady pace for miles, exhausting any would-be predator. Moving in a vast herd, they create a whirlwind of chaotic motion, making it difficult for a predator to single out a target. But not all prey chooses to run. Amidst the grasslands, the Cape buffalo stands like a living fortress. Weighing nearly a ton, they are not prey. They are an incarnation of muscle and fury. Their curved, armored horns can crush bone and turn the tide of any battle. A single thrust from its horns delivers 3 times the force of a lion's bite. What makes them truly fearsome is their intelligence and their ability to remember an enemy. A failed hunt today could lead to a ferocious revenge tomorrow. When threatened, the herd instantly forms a wall of steel, protecting the young in the center. This strategy forces even the most seasoned lion prides to be wary. Even the giraffe, a gentle giant, possesses a lethal weapon. Its 6-foot-long legs can unleash a kick with nearly 2,000 pounds of force. A single strike is enough to kill a lion outright. In a world where survival often belongs to the tooth and claw, the giraffe proves that strength also comes from calm and defensive power. The savanna is a relentless battlefield, where survival is forged through constant evolution. The herbivores are not just prey, they are warriors in their own right. They force the predators to continuously perfect their skills. But a change of leadership within a lion pride can shatter this balance. When a new coalition overthrows the dominant male, a brutal process unfolds. The victor will kill all the cubs sired by his predecessor. This act erases the rival's bloodline and forces the females back into estrus. Within weeks, the new male can begin to pass on his own genes. Though savage, it is a survival strategy shaped over millions of years. A leadership change also weakens the pride's hunting effectiveness. The success rate can drop by as much as 30% during this transitional phase. It can take up to a year for the pride to regain its stability and strength. These are the moments of weakness that rivals, like hyenas, wait to exploit. Everything in this world is connected by a delicate balance of power. From the fight for the throne to the hunt on the plains, it is all part of a great cycle. A testament to nature's intricate design. But today, that delicate natural balance is broken. Once the undisputed kingdom of the lion, the savanna is now a battlefield shaped by new threats. Climate change, shrinking habitats, and human encroachment have made survival more fragile than ever. The African savanna is turning into a harsh furnace. Trees that were once green now stand like stark, barren skeletons. Under the intense sun, water sources are slowly vanishing. The great herds of prey, the lion's primary food source, are forced to migrate further. This compels the lions to expand their territories, leading to more ferocious battles for survival. The lion population has plummeted by nearly 43% in just the last 2 decades. This dramatic decline reflects the growing impact of climate change and human-wildlife conflict. Unpredictable rainy seasons and prolonged droughts have disrupted the entire ecosystem. Even in strongholds like the Serengeti, lions face an uncertain future. As food becomes scarce, territorial fights between prides become more brutal. The roars that were once a symbol of power now echo with a note of desperation. Wildfires and habitat destruction are shrinking their kingdom day by day. Driven to the edge, lions venture dangerously close to human settlements. They hunt livestock to survive, paying the price in retaliatory killings by people. This cycle of conflict is helping to push this proud species towards a dangerous precipice. Poaching, particularly from 2020 to 2023, has increased by nearly 30%, worsening the situation. Once the masters of the savanna, lions are now in alarming decline. Their future depends entirely on our urgent conservation efforts. Organizations like Panthera are working with African governments to establish protected reserves. They establish wildlife corridors, allowing fragmented populations to reconnect. GPS technology and surveillance cameras are being deployed to combat poaching. Thanks to these tireless efforts, a few populations are showing hopeful signs of recovery. But the fight for the lion's survival is far from over. Protecting lions is not just the work of conservationists, but a global responsibility. From supporting conservation funds and raising awareness to sustainable ecotourism, every small action we take has the power to create change. Only by working together can we hope to preserve the magnificent roar of the lion. so that it may echo across the savanna for all generations to come. The legacy of the lion is written not only in strength and dominance, it is also written in resilience, adaptability, and a complex social fabric. The heart of the savanna still beats to the rhythm of the pride. The lionesses continue to lead the hunt, nurturing the next generation. The males still patrol their borders, their roars affirming an ancient heritage. And the cubs still play in the shade of acacia trees, learning their first lessons of survival. In them lies the hope for the continuation of a royal bloodline. But the shadow of change still looms over their kingdom. The lion's fight is no longer just on the arid grasslands. It is also being fought in the hearts and minds of humankind. Will we act in time to save this king? Will its roar continue to be the emblem of wild Africa? Or will it become a mournful echo of a world that has been lost? The answer lies with us, and time is running out. The future of the savanna and its king is at its most fragile point. With each passing day, their struggle for existence grows more intense. And in that struggle, the lion still fights with all its courage and dignity. An undying symbol of strength, family, and a wild spirit that will never be broken. The rains return, and the savanna is reborn in lush green. The grass grows to 6 feet, providing both a sanctuary and a deadly trap. In this labyrinth, life and death are decided in a single moment. Amid this game of survival, the impala is a master of concealment. Its tawny coat allows it to vanish into the dense grass, deceiving even the sharpest eyes. The rainy season is also the birthing season, and the vulnerable young have neither speed nor strength. Their only weapon is absolute silence. Their mothers hide them in the tall grass, where their color melts into the landscape. When danger approaches, they freeze, holding their breath as if to dissolve from the world. On the savanna, survival sometimes lies not in strength, but in the art of disappearance. Like the impala, the Thompson's gazelle also survives through masterful evasion. But when concealment is not enough, it unleashes its ultimate weapon: speed. In an instant, it bursts from the grass like an arrow, reaching 60 miles per hour. What makes it so special are its sudden, high-speed, zigzag maneuvers. Thanks to these deft evasions, it reduces the cheetah's hunting success rate to only about 40%. In this dance of survival, it proves that life depends not just on speed, but on intellect. After the rains, lions and leopards move like ghosts through the tall grass. Here, survival depends on cooperation. Wildebeest and zebra form defensive alliances. They combine their numbers and their synchronized movements to thwart predators. A single alarm call is all it takes for the signal to spread through the herd. The entire group is instantly ready for a spectacular escape. This strategy has been proven to reduce the lion's hunting success by nearly 40%. But even the smallest sentinels, like the francolin, play a vital role. Their shrill calls ignite a wave of alarm across the grasslands. In this world, survival lies in vigilance, unity, and the ability to turn chaos into an art form. The buffalo relies not just on its strength, but on its solidarity. A herd moves across the savanna like a great, living fortress. Each animal weighs nearly a ton, but they are never alone. When danger lurks, the herd immediately closes ranks. The adult males, with their formidable horns, form a wall of steel. They shield the weaker young at the center. If a predator dares to attack, the entire herd is ready to launch a ferocious counter-assault. A thrust from a horn can pierce flesh and even break a lion's ribs. It is this overwhelming power that has, time and again, sent the most ferocious hunters fleeing. Within the herd, every individual has a role. The most experienced act as sentinels, their watchful eyes scanning the horizon. With just a subtle movement, a warning signal is passed through the herd. This is a living alarm system, protecting not only the buffalo, but many other species. On the African savanna, survival is not just about individual strength. It is about unity, about strategy, and, above all, the fight to protect the next generation. The wildebeest is another testament to this. With curved horns as sharp as daggers, they are far from helpless. They make split-second decisions, knowing when to run and when to turn and fight. Every headbutt is a counterattack, capable of breaking bone. When a lion closes in, the wildebeest shows no fear. Instead, it wields its horns with deadly effect, aiming for its enemy's weak points. One powerful thrust can make the difference between life and death. Their resilience has helped them survive countless ambushes. This turns what many see as mere prey into a formidable adversary. Their instincts have been fine-tuned over thousands of years of evolution. Even when overwhelmed and seemingly defeated, they fight on with relentless stamina. They resist to their very last breath, striking whenever an opportunity arises. On these harsh plains, every waterhole is a battleground, every shadow a potential threat. Survival is not just about speed, but about resilience and the will to fight. Every kick is a declaration. Every escape is a testament to the indomitable spirit of these creatures. For millions of years, they have defied the most fearsome predators, proving they are never simply prey. Among the low branches and the riverside thickets, the rulers of the landscape are the vervet monkeys, small, intelligent, and full of personality. With their dark, expressive, almost entirely black faces framed by a halo of grey-white fur, they are easily recognizable. They prefer to move in the treetops, leaping from branch to branch with agility, but they also frequently descend to the ground in search of fallen fruit, seeds, insects, and even small bird eggs. Vervet mothers are very careful and dedicated, carrying their young in the early days, feeding and protecting them with great care. They live in noisy groups, with a clear hierarchy and a rich communication system of sounds, postures, and glances. They are not the biggest, nor the strongest, but wherever there is forest and water, they are present. With their agile leaps, intelligent eyes, and bold demeanor, the vervet monkeys bring a lightness, a vitality, and a movement to the heart of the African jungle. But for many, the true hidden treasure of Murchison lives in the swamps, almost invisible, almost mythical. There, among the reeds and aquatic plants, is the shoebill. A rare, prehistoric-looking bird, standing up to 5 feet tall. Its wide, flat beak looks like a wooden shoe, a perfect tool for catching fish and frogs. Today, it is believed that fewer than 5,000 individuals remain in the wild. Their presence is so discreet that every sighting is considered a real event. It is a symbol of the beauty and mystery that Africa exudes. To see an animal like this, even from a distance, is a unique experience. One of those things that reminds us that African nature still holds undiscovered secrets. At first glance, Murchison impresses with the power of its water. But on closer inspection, one realizes that it is not just the river that makes this place special. Its incredible Murchison Falls. It is in this balance between power and subtlety that the forest reveals its true nature. The mountains of Ethiopia rise like true natural fortresses, with abrupt slopes, deep valleys carved by the Great Rift Valley, high-altitude forests, and vast plateaus almost always shrouded in mist. At first glance, this landscape may seem arid or harsh, but on closer inspection, you will discover that between the rocks and cliffs, one of Africa's most unique forests is thriving. A vertical forest, cold, silent, and full of life. The majestic Simien Mountains, known as the Roof of Africa, form a unique ecosystem where altitude imposes harsh challenges for survival and shapes some of the continent's most extraordinary life forms. With its thick fur, dark face, and an unmistakable red patch on its chest, the Gelada baboon is endemic to the Ethiopian highlands, and one of the most iconic animals of these mountains. They are a primate species that has adapted to live at altitudes of 6,500 to 14,800 feet. The males stand out with their majestic mane and a red hourglass-shaped patch on their chest, a mark that intensifies during the mating season, reflecting their vitality and social status within the group. Unlike other primates, Geladas are primarily grass eaters. This specialized diet distinguishes them from other primates and is a unique adaptation to mountain life. An adult baboon can spend more than 70% of its day grazing, traveling long distances in search of grassy areas. But the real strength of the Gelada lies in its social life. They form one of the most complex societies among primates, living in large groups of up to 500 individuals. They have an impressive vocabulary, with more than 30 different types of calls, used to keep the group cohesive or to repel intruders. These are the guardians of the Simien Mountains. They remind us of the extraordinary resilience of Ethiopian wildlife and the importance of preserving this icon of balance and adaptation. Just as the Gelada baboon dominates the slopes, above them, another master of the heights reigns supreme. The lammergeier, a true guardian of the skies, complements the ecosystem of the Simien Mountains with its majestic presence and its unique role in the food chain. The orange color of the lammergeier's plumage is not natural. It comes from the iron oxide-rich soil in which it bathes to mark its territory and show dominance. This rare and fascinating behavior distinguishes it from other birds of prey. With a wingspan of up to 10 feet, the lammergeier is perfectly adapted to soar in the mountain air currents. Just as the Gelada baboon is essential for the balance of the plains, the lammergeier plays a crucial role in the mountain ecosystem. By consuming bones and what is left behind that other predators cannot utilize, it acts as a natural cleaner. "600 miles from the Simien Mountains, in the heart of Ethiopia, is the Bale Mountains National Park. In this high-altitude sanctuary, we find another remarkable species. These Ethiopian wolves are one of the rarest predators in the world. They live at an altitude of 9,800 feet above sea level, where winter temperatures regularly drop below freezing. The Ethiopian wolf has a slender and elegant appearance, perfectly adapted to life at high altitudes. Although similar in size to a coyote, this predator specializes in hunting small rodents, which make up over 90% of its diet. They have evolved in a unique way, perfectly adapted to their mountain habitat. Their acute hearing is fundamental for detecting the movement of rodents under the dense vegetation. With about 500 individuals left in the wild, these animals are extremely rare and unique. They can only be found in the Bale Mountains National Park, where their population is relatively protected and has shown signs of a gradual increase. Our last stop appears in a setting that at first glance does not seem to belong in Africa. At the foot of one of the most iconic mountains on the planet, Mount Kilimanjaro. This territory is part of the Kilimanjaro National Park, a reserve of about 652 square miles, recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Many clear rivers flow down from above, fed by the humidity of the forest and the melting ice from the summit. They form a crucial water network for the region, providing not only for the local flora and fauna, but also for many human communities. Among the watercourses, one of the highlights is the Mataruni waterfall, an impressive cascade hidden amidst the dense vegetation over 230 feet high. This forest is home to a rich biodiversity, home to primates, antelopes, chameleons, birds, and countless species of insects and amphibians. We have journeyed through the heart of the African continent, guided by the rustle of leaves, the tracks of animals, and the mysteries hidden in the shadows of these great trees. From the deep forests of the Congo to the misty peaks of Ethiopia, and finally to the green slopes of Kilimanjaro. What we have seen is not just beautiful, it is essential. These forests regulate the climate, shelter unique species, and have sustained human communities for millennia. To capture these images and to tell these stories is also an act of resistance. It is a reminder that wild, authentic life still exists in the world, and that Africa, with its ancient, lush forests, still holds secrets worthy of protection.